and welcome to the RPG Blender, where we give lesser played games or forgotten settings the roll the dice they deserve. I'm your host, Game Master George, thrilled to welcome you to the next chapter in our adventure. Our heroes have met the leader of the force threatening Nechara. What will they do now that they see her path? Find out as we explore a new land of power and ancient secrets in Exalted, Tipping Point.
Well, thank you. As a individual searching for lore concerning the annals of time, I appreciate everything you've brought forward.
Of course.
I
hope this does not eventually end badly.
Me too. I hope the next time we see each other, it's in peace.
As do I. And if it is within the city walls after gates are opened and the leaders have prostrated themselves, then it will be. But I would not advise returning to the camp before.
This is a fair one, and appreciated.
Well, we have some work to do.
May your strength guide you.
They will, Lord of Autumn.
No, I'm rooting for them. I hope they do it. I say as we're walking away.
As you begin walking away, she shifts into a chimpanzee form and begins monkeying away through the trees.
Jealousy is maximum.
Turned into a monkey? God damn it.
They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool.
I feel like I want those powers. The guy we fought was just a wolf the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get those powers.
I know. Powers are cool, I guess. Push over a tree dejectedly.
They sure are. Slowly walks away.
So what are we going to do? At the end of the day, I know that your morality is a bit more stringent on such things, but what you choose, friend, is what we do.
Could say it with less scorn.
No, I'm sorry. I was thinking of how cool it would be to be a big lizard. It's not you.
Of course. I misread that. Well, here are the facts. Nechara is a city that does not truly support the efforts of the Dragon-Blooded, though they don't actively rebel. So for all intents and purposes, they're neutral. However, they're in the way of a force and actively rejects the realm. So they are a target that will be used by a force. The people in that city are innocent bystanders that are going to suffer. Lord of Autumn didn't beat around the bush there. She has intent of just doing what needs to be done with her people, no matter the cause, no matter the value, so that they retain that city, get the information, take control, and push onward.
I'm going to take out a map really quick as you're talking. I kind of like lay it out.
And this is all happening while we're traveling. We're all just...
Yeah. I'm in a cart, so I can just do that.
Yes, exactly. With that in mind, we're talking about our true goal, which is to help our own kind be able to reclaim their own piece of peace in this world and try and do some good in the process. Remove ourselves from the stain that is being referred to as anathemas. Allowing this force and the lunars that lead them to just simply bowl over this city is doing our people that much more harm. They are roped in with us, and something that we just learned too is they even have a bond to us. This one apparently connects to me somehow, and I, for whatever reason, can't detect that, but maybe she was lying to me. Maybe that was a tactic, but it seemed, I don't know, genuine. I didn't pick up on anything, though.
She didn't seem very deceitful. Could it be that your sword doesn't just seal away others' memories?
Not that I know of.
Of course, how would you?
Well, I mean, I haven't even truly wielded that aspect, so though I understand the properties it can do, beyond that, though there are a couple of interesting details that I think bear some investigation. For one thing, she mentioned our madness.
Yeah, that was strange. I have not gone
concern me.
I don't know what that means.
I do not either.
And if there's a way for us to discover that, I think we should sooner rather than later, because it probably has a strong foundation for why we are referred to as anathemas. And if that's the case, that's our worst enemy. Not the realm, not the lunars, not the Broken Horn tribe, not Nechara. That's going to be our undoing. So we need to fix that, because I have a feeling that's what did our predecessors in, our forefathers, our ancestors.
It's good reasoning.
I think our battle isn't here, and I think the lunars can be our friends. I think that if this bond is true, and I'd like to look into that more. If that is the case, and there is a connection between us and them, that may need to be fostered and developed. That may be a strength for us, for our efforts. But that doesn't need to come at the cost of random innocent people just trying to live their life.
I don't disagree with you, and so I'm looking for a way.
Well,
is there a city that's close? Like, what's the next closest city?
Yes, sacrifice the other city.
Yes, because this city doesn't care about the Empire, and so if they turn and use their forces to help attack another city in a very sudden blitz.
I mean, redirecting them to a more tactical position that is pro-realm. Now, that's something
That's better.
And then you have
get on board with.
then you have reinforcements from behind, because you can still use that as a staging base because they are now your allies, and you've taken over a worse place.
Yep, you've spent the same amount of manpower to double the effective territory again.
We can even try and pivot that direction too, because Nechara isn't even pro-realm. So with a foothold that's opposed to the realm, already established by a force, we can warn them and say, hey, you don't need to have a horse in this race. You can literally just continue to maintain business. That ownership just changed. That's the only difference.
You're paying taxes over here, and you're going to garrison a ton of troops.
Right. Business is booming. Keep doing your thing.
So there are not any other cities that are as advantageous, at least in this area. So it would have to go way toward the north to go to Nathir, which sits at the crossroads, or at least close to the crossroads of the fork in another river. And that would probably actually be the direction that they're going to head after taking Nechara, because it connects further up the river. The reason for Nechara is its positioning on this trade route.
So essentially what we could, so here's my thought process on this, using my war brain and ancient war brain knowledges. If right now this looks like a barbarian horde that Nechara is invested in, but really the rest of the realm probably doesn't care that much, because Nechara has beaten back barbarian hordes from time immemorial. They've gone a little far, but it's more of a nuisance that takes out a few Necharans. It's not a realm threatening thing, correct?
Yes, and Nechara has also probably burned some bridges in not actively supporting the realm in its efforts.
Exactly. So, but if Nechara is taken by this other force, that then alerts everyone. And the next city, and I point to that city, is going to be reinforced
More
tenfold.
defenses.
You got it. Now, if instead we are wrong, and so how long would it take to march? And again, just if you want me to roll a war thing, I'll roll a war thing, but how long would it take to march from nearby Nechara for a resupply and then continue to march toward the north?
As in toward that other city?
Yeah.
Or the other city, yeah.
Yeah, what would the time frame on that
The
be?
other option. Trade a
okay.
city for a city.
It's not trading, honestly. It's better because
It's more advantageous
Weakens the
'cause you're getting
empire.
two.
Exactly.
2 for the price of 1. Yeah.
You're gaining allies, you're gaining forces,
I'm on your
and you're
boat.
gaining
I'm on your
you're gaining
wavelength.
exactly, and you're gaining surprise.
It is nearly 1,000 miles.
And I would walk 10,000 miles, and I would walk 10,000 more, but I don't know how long that is. So how far does that? So let me look. So how do you want me to Google how far can a
Give me
army
your
march in a day?
intelligence war.
Not intelligence.
Yes, of course, intelligence.
I know.
Right,
Anytime I say not intelligence, it's not that I disagree with you. I just don't want it. We're gonna pump it. Because we need to. We're gonna lean on them ancestors. Ooh, ancestors.
Come on, ancestors. Ooh,
Ancestors. So I'm just kind of like staring at the map, and I'm like imagining like the cities and the landscapes and the forests and stuff like that taking into effect, like slowly ticking down like little bits and like pebbles for supplies and everything like that, trying to really get how far you could march and how well you could march quickly a force there, and looking at population pockets, things like that, to remain hidden. So I'm really just like sussing it all out, and as I am doing it, I'm remembering things that I've never known, like little bits and pieces, like, oh well, don't forget there's this river here, well there's a pond here, or there's this here.
that sounds stunt worthy to me.
You can have a 2-dot stunt.
Yes. Gotta milk it. Okay, well that was a 10 from that, so that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 with the 2-dot plus 1.
Okay, so doing a quick Google search tells me that the average from March was between 8 and 13 miles per day.
Oh,
But with my excellent planned march.
With your excellent planned march, assuming
like 100
an
days.
undisciplined horde like this.
Oh yeah, these guys suck. I forgot they're not like my guys. My guys don't suck.
Yeah, so I mean, you're looking at 100 to 125 days of travel to get to the next one if you're going by foot.
Which means you camp in that city for a while, you develop enough resources that you can make that travel.
Or you take that city and then you use the waterways to not have to march.
Oh, and then, but the city, I guess it would depend on how big the horde is. But then you could just use cavalry, which would obviously travel a lot faster in tandem with the boats and just slow down the boats, depending on if you could get all your forces onto the waterway.
But either way, you upgrade from a marching barbarian horde to a
Pirate
a mobilized crew. Yeah.
And again, because no actual siege happened, you would have an incredible element of surprise. We're assuming.
Well, yeah, as we're talking through the idea.
I think that this would be the most advantageous to everyone involved.
Now, that sounds like the most peaceful of aspects. However, something to keep in mind, and I doubt either of you missed this, but Lore of Autumn did make mention to say, our kind failed before, so their time is now. That is not a statement of friendliness. That is a statement as to say, you will not have that opportunity again. It is our time. Though there was a bond in some way, shape, or form between our kind and theirs, that does not mean that we are allies per se. Right now, there's a neutral camaraderie, but that doesn't mean things are going to stay that way, especially if our directions conflict with theirs. She doesn't seem like she's willing to play alongside our intentions anyway. And right now, we're acquiescing to her. That's what we're doing. We are trying to make it so that our ideals are still honored, but she's going to blow that wall over one way or another.
Yes, this is the way of strength, and this is okay. They are older, they are wiser, they have the resources. There are three of us. We are utilizing their strength to weaken a mutual enemy, and we are saving a lot of people in the process. I do not disagree with you that we will potentially, probably, not always be allied, but if our ancestors ruled in the past and they were our allies then, I do not see why if they were ruling it would not be the same for us.
I feel the strength when used inappropriately is incorrect, and when used against those who can't defend themselves
is always incorrect.
That's what I'm getting at here.
I do not disagree. However, I understand the actions of an individual versus a large group, and it is hard to control a large group. You can try, and while some people take great pains to do so, such as myself, it is not always something that is easy, and especially when you're utilizing a horde like the Broken Horn tribe. So I do not blame her for not giving us definitives. I think that was a bit more honest, not to be like, oh yeah, of course, I will spare everyone and everything will be fine, because it's easy to give lip service, but it's much more realistic to say, of course people will be hurt. I'm going to blow open this wall and a barbarian horde is going to pour in. I felt it more trustworthy for that reason.
And it's not that I am to say that I distrust her, but I am saying that she's not our friend. She's not our ally. She is someone that right now we are trying to cooperate with, but we don't have the cards. I'm just saying we need to be careful because this can turn on us instantly. As those words, though not outright aggressive, were still to say your kind did wrong and our time is now. That's what she said.
You're not wrong.
So we need to keep that in mind because we are on the razor's edge and we are being given a free pass because we are not our forefather. We are us. And we actually spoke, and for some reason there's some, I don't know what it is, a bond or something.
You could call it that, yeah.
Whatever it is, it gave us a moment to breathe. So whatever we can accomplish is going to be the best we get. But I meant what I said. If she is to needlessly kill innocent people, my line is drawn there.
You know this is my line as well, and regardless, I would follow you. So
I'm with you as well, dear.
If we offer her a peaceable solution and she does not, so for example, let us say that our plan works flawlessly, that the city is willing, that the city is willing to lay down and say our people are going to stay here, but you can stage here. We are going to send you up the river, and we will be here as an ally, and you can obviously stage yourselves here as well. And she says, "No, get out. This is mine." Then we will fight, and that will be what it is. Because if we have offered a better solution, but she is unwilling to bend to a new idea, then she is no better than the dragon-blooded, and then in which case they have revealed themselves a bit too early.
Fair point.
Agreed.
Okay, so we have what, 2-3 weeks?
We should hurry.
Going as fast as we can.
No, actually, we should probably pick it up to like a trot. Before we were probably like, we're going, but now we're probably like, all right, we're gonna go.
Trot faster.
Okay, you trot faster. After a couple days, you arrive back at Nechara. Total time elapsed of your 3 weeks has been 9 days.
Oh, I was hoping it was 6. I did the math there wrong.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, your math is way more right. I was like, it's like 6, but it
was like 6 days out, several days there, getting there, and then I'm giving you half time back. Okay.
In the day before our re-entry into Nechara, Dirham
We should plan stuff out.
reassumes his disguise. But just as we are riding in, pretty much we'll just say, let's return to the boat, make sure our things are still stable here, make sure that both
Tell
of
them
your
to get
people
out.
are okay and whatnot, and then we can figure out our plan of attack to try and pull off a miracle.
So I think
well.
first thing is we should have the boat undock and leave the city, because if we have to leave the city and we are still at their docks, we are going to be in trouble.
We can meet them on the waterfront, further down the river.
Exactly. We
okay,
could
so-
probably move and get out of here much quicker. And I don't know if they have ways of closing off the river within the city and blockading, which I would assume they do to prevent attack.
But we can do that closer to the actual assault. I mean,
No, I mean before
case
we
we
have
have
this
to throw
conversation.
out.
So if we have a conversation,
In
we
case
say,
we,
"Hey, this
made
is your
enemies
best
of the
chance."
city.
Exactly. So if we say this is your best chance for survival, and the
I see.
demonologist and the guy who owns all of the slums and the noble houses are like, "F you, this is great, and we're not giving this up for anything." Well, then we might just go to prison. This is the way things are. So we might
Well,
have to skedaddle.
We won't go to prison. Let's
Good
be
idea.
Obviously, we're not
entirely
going to prison. No one's going to capture us, probably.
but when things escalate, it's nice to know that our get out of Nechara card isn't just apprehended.
Held up,
That's a good
exactly.
point. Very good point. Very good point. Okay, I say before we decide to actually have the conversation, we can stay docked for the time being. Whether or not we need to retain supplies, we can still have a comfortable place to stay before we enact and try and make this work out. But I think that it's worth us to figure out how we're approaching this. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. As far as we understand, Nechara is mainly neutral, aligned to the realm, but they don't agree with the processes that are currently going on. That's what we've learned so far. So with that in mind, it behooves them to, instead of fighting against the barbarians, which we have understood, they are looking for information and a better foothold to attack the realm, because they have issue with the wrong rulers here. To, instead of hurting Nechara, allowing passage, which will in turn improve economy, because there will be demand here, there will be a lot of work, there will be a lot of activity and
Nexus is
need.
still downstream.
Correct. And then in doing so, they will also be bolstered while the Broken Horn tribe is active within Nechara. They will have a barbarian horde protecting this city.
And Nexus has, I assume, mercenary companies and things of that nature, just based on their intense neutrality.
I would assume so.
I'm asking George, like, is that like a known thing? Like,
Yeah, I mean, the city guard were all mercenaries.
yeah, that's what I thought. I remembered that. So it also behooves them to keep the city in some sort of capital flush, because then they can purchase mercenaries and therefore just immediately bolster warfront supplies and bodies, which is a huge thing, especially for war. I don't want to say now, because that would imply that there's a different time, but now.
Right.
But people don't grow immediately. You can't train a knight overnight. Horses and armor, these are all things that are expensive things. So the more you bring to bear, the better off you are. There are a lot of good reasons, I think, to our plan. And I think that if we can convince this city, it should be easy to convince our friend,
Well,
if they want to be convinced.
that's the next question, and something we need to figure out is, who are we speaking to? I don't know who the officials are in this city. Do we actually have a lead on that?
know where the district is that they're located in.
We could reveal ourselves and then say, hey, we need to speak with you for the literal, safety
I'm
of your
certain
city.
that would grant us an audience, but perhaps would also draw the attention and ire.
I could also
of
ask the guard
order.
captain. They are waiting for us and are good with us. And that's a more appropriate channel. Even if it took a day, it would just give us a day to plan.
I will follow your lead in whatever way you deem fit. But if you have need of my resources, perhaps some of my members would seek about requesting an audience as a potential new influence in this city.
Let's try the guard captain, but that is a good idea, Ajamel. I did not
Of
want to
course.
come off as threatening, but I agree that it would be a good second avenue.
I think if we can discover who the proper points of contact are in the city first and figure out more about them. We have time, we might as well prepare ourselves as best as we can. Who they are, where do they stand, their sort of political presence with the realm, though obviously we can assume they are not truly supportive of, but the question is, to what degree, what area, where does the gray lie for the rulers of Nechara? Because we're going to need to play to that if we're going to make this plan sellable. It for what the people of Nechara look upon the Broken Horn tribe as, they are monsters and mongrels, and we are asking for them to allow them to open their doors and let them into their homes. That's asking the boogeyman into the bed, and
You are correct. So we need to tweak it. For example, the barbarians are a tool being used by someone else. So maybe that would be more palatable, that there is a greater, stronger force elsewhere that is directing this large force. That is the thing you're becoming a part of, not this barbarian.
and maybe not so much becoming a part of, but rather simply allowing for the time being.
I do not think that this is going to go over well. I think it has to be one or the other. I'm just being honest with you.
I just don't know how well would any leader accept to saying, all right, I'm no longer the leader.
You're
Take
still the leader
everything
of
I
the
have.
city. You're just not in charge of. You're going to have a much more subdued hand than you previously did. But
If they wanted to
let me
protect
tell you,
their
if
people,
it's not, it's also about protecting their wealth. Let's be very real here. We, as Jerem said, we don't know what they do and don't like, but I do not often. People who care about their followers are few and far between. Those who garner strength and covet strength are rarely the ones who wield it appropriately, because that is a skill in and of itself. We need to convince them it is in their best interest to do this, but we cannot say this is temporary, because if our friend gets here and says, you are now part of blah blah blah, and they go, no, this is only temporary, it's off. We are dealing very clearly with a creature of, if we're going to convince her to deviate in the slightest bit, it needs to be of great benefit and little risk. Saying, oh, we'll just be back here doing our own thing, but we're not going to completely submit, puts an enemy at your back, and I would never allow for this personally.
Fair point. Well, then we just have to convince a ruler to surrender.
They're not technically, their rulership doesn't change beyond who is above them in theory, but there is a change, and they have to be willing to accept this, that their new boss is going to be much more involved in what is happening, and they have to be willing to submit to those things and work that as best they can, because there is no other way out.
If they value their lives, they'll see that, and they will accept it.
This is the best way, I think. This is the best way to save the most people possible. We just have to convince either the kind-hearted or the greedy that they see is true for them as well.
Well, it's always easy to convince the greedy, because they only care about one thing. And if someone is kind-hearted, then they will see that there is no other way to protect people, and that is also the only way. And if they need a demonstration of but a taste of the might that I forgive my use of the word, but anathema represents.
Stop using the word!
I just said forgive me.
No, I'm just saying, I feel like we should just use a different word, because I feel like you get it in your head, and you're just going to keep saying it.
Give me
You
another
can't ask
word
for permission and then say the bad word. That's not how it works.
Well,
You
he
just
said-
don't say the bad word. It's offensive regardless.
Okay, whatever.
I'm not
The
mad
point
at you.
being,
I'm
if
just trying
they
to
think
help
their city walls can hold against the might of one of the chosen, we can give them a demonstration of how wrong they are.
That's actually true, probably.
Because that would be the one thing. It's easy to convince them money-wise to protect their investments. This is the wisest course of action. It's easy to convince them kind-hearted-wise that it is the best way to protect their people.
But if they're being
they may think their
short-sighted.
third option is that they can defend their city, and we need to show them how utterly hopeless that is.
Well, they've never punched a hole in the city wall before, but if there was a time to do it to save a lot of people, this would certainly be it.
I
Indeed.
agree. That's a fair point.
We will keep that in our back pocket, though, because I actually look concerned. I was like, I have actually never done this, and I am unaware whether.
Well, there's a first time for everything, my friend. And Adramalik reaches up and pats him on his lower back.
I'm sitting in a cart, so you're probably getting the shoulder.
Okay, I get the shoulder then. Yeah, I get the shoulder.
I smile at you and I nod back at you. Here's hoping.
Okay, so first and foremost, get back to the boat. We'll make sure everything's okay there. Then we need to start finding out who we're aiming to speak with and find a means of communication to speak with them. And then we just simply need to convince them.
Man, strings would be so helpful right now.
He's off doing his own thing.
No, I know. I'm just.
You know, they're having a wonderful time. Probably smoking his pipe right now.
I'm just thinking. All he ever
I
did
miss the
was eat those
taste of bubble
ghosts.
gum.
I don't think he's smoking his pipe right now. Didn't he get
You
that
should be
either?
smoking his pipe, yeah?
Oh my god! And Adramalik has like a minor freak out as he reaches into his backpack and
His
pulls out
sheath? His
the
sheath
giant-
of
the
piping?
Pipe sheath.
the giant pipe that he forgot was in his possession. He had a little Dirham syndrome with the sword. He forgot that it was within his grasp. And
I pat the back of the cart and I'm like, go ahead, sit down. You enjoy yourself.
he lights lights up, just takes a big long puff, blows out like some pink smoke.
Pink candy
Just
floss
relaxes
or
on the
whatever it
rest
was.
of the
Candy floss.
Yeah, candy floss.
Candy floss. That was it.
Okay, and you make your way back into town and to your boat. I assume you are trying to bypass guards because one of you is very noticeable.
What? No, I don't. I don't.
And
mind
you
the
might be
guards.
directed back toward the guard station.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. At worst, Addermal can probably go and tell the boat like undock, and then we can go report, and he can meet back up with us.
Okay, if you're not attempting to avoid the guards, then you are
No.
met at the gate.
Yeah, and they're trying to be sneaky about it. They know war is coming. I don't want them to be like, "Who are you?" Like that would be worse almost.
Giant!
We overthink things way too much. I'm really just trying to fucking walk right in here.
Okay.
No, yeah. I mean, with disguise on, Dirham is just sort of trying to blend in, hood up, and just keep it
You came in looking like this.
keep
so
it
it's
simple.
perfect,
Yeah, right. But he's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
trying to talk in case anybody's like, wait, you look like that guy who exploded in blue and white fire, like just allow. And just
Okay.
get through. Yeah, we're just trying to nonchalantly go through.
You make your way. You make your way to the city. At the gate, you are stopped by the guard who was obviously told to watch for the return of Giant Man
with our horses.
with their horses. They take the horses from you unless you...
No, of course I give them
fair.
back.
We don't
I
need
thank them.
horses.
I thank them very much. I'm very friendly. I'm patting them and saying, great horses, blah blah.
And the captain is waiting for you at the guard tower.
We have much
Waiting
to
for your return.
discuss.
Yes.
Chin maybe we save everyone today, huh? And I'll give his armor a little knock. I'm like,
He has a little scuff. As primitives of savages, they couldn't penetrate these walls.
Yeah.
It keeps walking, just keeps walking. Walks past and
water doesn't think, it doesn't want, it doesn't desire. Most primitive of all. But I guarantee you, a wave of water would wash over this city just as easily as a wave of barbarians. It's just about the amount, my friend.
He looks confused as your words sail completely over his head,
Right.
but that's why we make dams.
I actually laugh and I'm like, Brent, you're the best.
Is it a 10?
10! This guy's name is Brent!
As you walk through the gate, you hear the one nudging the other. Oh my god, he actually got your name right. Whoa.
Yeah, because I get names wrong constantly. It's only people who
all the
haven't told
guards
me their
apparently
names.
know that you get freaking names wrong.
This is his reputation in the city.
Right.
He has the 1 dot merit reputation, name forgetter giant person.
Right.
No, I know names when you give them to me. My problem is that I always guess names first. Like it's like a weird flaw, I guess.
Okay. So,
We
do you
head
head
back.
to the guard tower or do you bypass?
Adramalik is going to go talk
I'm
to
going to-
the boat people.
Going to the
We
boat.
are going to the guard tower.
Dirham's gonna go with Adramalik.
All right, good luck. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
okay.
really mostly waiting for me anyway, so that's fine.
Dirham and
Mountain.
Adramalik make their way back to the...
If you can, while speaking with them, because you have a good rapport with the guards, find out who the leaders are. Find
Yeah,
out
that's
who
the
the
plan.
people in power are. Excellent. Good.
It's to request an audience through them.
Right. Perfect. I believe in you.
Ugh, I wish you guys were about, but sure, yeah.
Not needed. Turns to
Time's
Adramalik.
gonna tell.
Turns to Adramalik. Shall we?
Let us return.
And he just follows Adramalik.
We go to the boat.
Okay, you make your way to the boat, and your goal is to just tell them to move offshore.
Yep.
To go
And
downriver.
also to do the thing that
out of
Dirham
the city.
requested.
Are you going upriver or downriver?
back toward Nexus,
Toward Nexus or
Yeah, I think
toward
the
the...
idea would be
Nexus, yeah.
if we're gonna try and leave, we're gonna leave back towards Nexus.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not gonna go deeper into enemy territory and be like, "Oh, guys, terrible things happen."
No, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That went really bad. All right, go get him.
Okay. Yeah, you don't meet any resistance getting your boat together and starting the process of heading it downstream.
All right, Adramalik, whenever you're ready. And Dirham folds his arms and leans against the wall.
Oh, I'm so sad I'm missing this.
Adramalik will clap 4 times.
And there is a scurrying. You hear the scurrying from deep below deck, too, as every single person just rushes to the call.
Wow, that was honestly really impressive. I haven't done that in a while. Good to see you're all up to practice. Good form. So I summoned you all up here, sort of to give you a bit of what's on my mind at the moment. The direction that I'm headed, the direction that we are all headed as a group. I intend to grow our family. I intend to increase the splendor and the potency and the power and reach of the House of Adramalik, so that all who are scorned, all who are cast out in the world, have a place, have a family, and have a purpose. But it has come to my attention that perhaps some of my methodology is a bit less about personal freedoms and more about for the greater good and for the familial elements that we all value so very much. Anyways, to put it plainly, I want to say thusly, all of you are here I assume because you've chosen to be so, and because you continue to strive and achieve the greater goals that I have laid before you when I recruited you. But if any of you see that purpose is not well spent, and if any of you feel as if you are not here of your own volition, then hear my words. You are free to go. You may leave, go wherever your feet may take you. The world is a vast and open place, and I would not shackle you here to be in my service simply because it fits me. And this is not about me. It's about so much more. So, anyone, if you wish to leave, you may do so now.
Hiram studies the crowd throughout all of this, the gathering, the dialogue, just a freaking eagle eye to see expressions, reactions, body language, everything.
Charisma presence from Adramalik.
Oh boy, make me roll the worst stats I got. All right, charisma's 2, presence is 2. Okay, that's 4. That's not bad.
Perception socialize for Dirham.
Do I have any dots for that speech?
Yes, you can have a 2-dot stunt.
Okay.
That was a very good.
Yep. And Dirham, you can have 1 dot.
Cool.
So,
Should have given a long epic speech about how watching the crowd.
Yeah, okay. Ain't got time for that.
okay, so all right, that's not bad. 6 successes.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah, given my speech capabilities, that is definitely more than I expected.
I got a 4.
Okay. No one moves to leave. You hear voice coming, "Why would we leave? When you rise, we rise to power."
This is true, and I'm glad that you see what I am capable of offering you. But if in your heart you feel as if I am not offering you enough, if you feel as if I am doomed to fail, or if you lack the faith and understanding of our current situation, I would not have you live in that fear. I would not have you live in chains. I would have you be free to seek your own life and fulfillment as you see fit.
Okay. Dirham, you see in the audience, in the crowd, you don't see anybody who looks like they're hesitating, but what you do see are a number of people who are kind of looking around to, much like you were, watch the reactions of other people. Not everyone, but some of them.
And do I catch this as well?
You can make a perception awareness. Perception socialize.
And you're speeching it up.
Do I get a stunt for that?
Do you get a stunt for, do I see anybody? No.
No. Okay. So after I said this, I am gauging. Adramalik is gauging the attention of the audience. He's looking from face to face, looking into their eyes of each person one at a time. Each person who he has almost recruited single-handedly, because at this point his cult has made some door-to-door Mormon
so
recruiting.
willingly calling it a cult now.
But he's mostly, for the most part, individually recruited each of these members. So he's looking from person to person in their eyes to just determine what in their heart they're feeling at this moment.
You can have a 1-dot stunt.
Yeah, give me that baby. All right, 1 success.
No.
I love that you tried, though.
Yeah, you tried.
That's
what you see is you see the people that are looking at you with the same awe and reverence that they always have. It's clear that they are here because they want to be, because they want to serve you, and in doing so, gain power of their own once you rise to ascendance.
At this point, Dirham pushes himself off of the wall of the boat that he's been leaning on, and just says, "Well said, Adramalik. Seems you have gathered people who certainly believe in your cause. I think these people who clearly have been with you for some time now, it shows by their devotion. That would stand to reason to make sure everybody feels they're properly taken care of here then, if they don't choose to leave, right? It would be fair to say if anybody has anything that they wish to have, if they feel like something else that would help them serve a little better, whether it's portions of food or clothing or better beds or anything of the like, right?"
Well, yes, actually. Speaking of clothing, I took very much to heart your critique, valid as it was, of the seamstresses and the sewers in my employ. And I think, honestly, the robes, they're a bit too gaudy. The big robes. I think a sleeker, tighter fitting, bodice is a little bit better. Having vestments, they just look better than just big robes. Robes are too baggy. You know what I mean? You get what I'm getting at? So I think you're right. Everyone, in the lower chambers, so weavers have been working day and night to produce fine clothing for Dirham here, and as he is not going to be wearing it, it is for all of you. Mark, if you would, showcase some of the newer styles. We're having an upgrade, if you will.
Mark, who had been standing in the shadows because he has not been outside to see the light of day very often, he suddenly looks panicked. Oh my gosh! Runs back inside, puts on a different outfit, and then struts out into the crowd, squinting as he does from the light shining down upon him.
Something wrong, Mark?
No, happy to serve.
No. It's just you seem to be having trouble with your eyes. Is something wrong with your eyes? Do you need help?
Oh,
Do you
no,
need medical
I
attention? Adramalik, do you see that?
We can get him a hat. Get him a hat. A hat would go good with that, actually. I get a hat from like the pile of clothes, I guess, and I put it over his head so his brow is shaded.
A look of pure rapture comes over his face as you put the hat upon his head. Almost a tear starts to trickle down his cheek as he redoubles his efforts.
Yes, no longer fear the light. There we go. Yes. See, everyone, this is the new look. I think it will do quite nicely. So you may all help yourselves to the clothes that are not going to our friend here.
Can I just make a suggestion?
Oh, of course, yes. I value your input. You helped me with this clothing situation. So what else is it?
Well, first off, before we get into clothing, does anybody here need anything else? Like, feel like maybe more food to have more energy so that you can work harder, more time to rest, or different changes in where you're staying, better bedrolls, things that make sure that you're comfortable and living well. And he looks into the audience.
There's a pause from the audience before eventually a voice speaks out. I'd like to feed Uber more.
Who said that?
Kill this man.
One of your newer recruits that you picked up along the journey here steps forward. It is a smaller, a younger man who has not been with you long.
The feeding of Uber is a very, very treasured and valued service. You know this.
His eyes wide as saucers, he nods slowly.
Then you will have to prove yourself.
In the customary way?
Of course.
Yeah, Dirham definitely chimes up.
And he rushes to go downstairs.
Adramalik, what's the customary way? Just curious. What's that mean? Are you going down there too? What's going on?
No, of course not. He's doing it in the customary way.
What's that?
Well, you're not part of my cult, aren't you? You tore up my shirt.
Oh, it is a cult. Noted. Adramalik, noted. So you all know, Dirham says, now turning to all of them, you are all in a cult. And that's okay if you all are okay with being in a cult.
We just established this. They're okay with it. I told you they'd be okay with it.
Well,
You hear some murmurs from the crowd at
and
this
you
statement.
see, there we have it. When
Does
this
he
cult
really
leader
not get what's going on here? Like, is he that slow? I thought he was the smart
not
one.
picking up on the audience who is bad-mouthing Hiram. When the cult leader says it's a cult, it's a different thing than a.
It's called being open and honest. That's
conversation.
what you wanted me to do. I honestly.
And you should have
Mark,
said that earlier to me, because I'm pretty sure you've been fighting the cult statement for quite some time.
Well, there's a black
Adramalik.
mark around the word, and you yourself are proving
Just
that.
like there is about anathema, and yet you still use that
Why
all
are
the
you saying that?
time.
I'm not saying that anymore. Rakeem told me not to say it, so I stopped saying it. But who's
That's
the only
not
person saying it right now?
true. I've been with you
you're
this
saying
whole
it.
time.
You're saying it right now. I didn't say it. You said
This is some of the best gaslighting I've seen in my life.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying the truth.
That you're a cult leader, and I like that you're finally admitting. I like that.
It's a group of like-minded individuals, and they're all part of my experience to rise as an.
You're
exalt.
saying words instead of saying yes. I admit it. I am a cult leader. That's all I need to hear.
I lead.
And you just said it. You just said this is a cult. So you just have to say that, and we move forward.
Why?
Can
why
you
do I
say
have to,
it?
If I already said it, then why do I have to say it again? There's no reason to say it.
Because you just said
time.
cult. You didn't
But
say
you just
I'm
said
a
it was a
cult
bad
leader.
thing.
Just say that.
I lead the House of Adramalik
Which is a.
from this day.
Which is a.
Which is a group of people who serve me.
Hiram says as he gets really close to him, his hands just postulating a lot, which is a. You could say it with me. Cult. It is
Okay,
a...
fine. It's a cult. All right, that's not a bad thing. Why do you make it out like it's a bad thing? These people...
there are really bad cults out there. I just want to make sure you know that you're a cult, so you make sure it's not a bad cult.
I'm not there.
And I'm sure there are plenty of good
You
cults.
hear a voice from the crowd. Didn't you? You were raised in the realm, right?
Who said that? Who said that? What? Looks into the audience.
A middle-aged
Step forward.
woman steps forward.
Perfect. The hero we need.
I'm sorry, who are you? What's your name?
My name is...
Betty. Oh, it's Betty.
Hey, if I'm gonna get gaslit for acknowledging that cults suck, by the way, viewers, cults are bad, so watch out. Watch out. This is ridiculous, but this is also role-playing.
You're in the middle of you're in the middle of the insanity. You're not gonna. There's no anchor points here. There's no normal
This is
people.
Craig to the viewers. Cults are bad.
Yes.
Just keep that in mind. This
Greg to the
scene of
viewers also.
insanity.
Cults are bad. Cults are
Everyone agrees cults are bad.
Cults
and what
are
I'm
bad.
about to
Okay.
say does not reflect the opinions of anybody in this group.
Ever. Nothing terrible that we say does.
Except for the in-game characters who are apparently about to be glamorized for this. But let's continue.
I don't think anybody thinks that.
What's your name? Who are you?
I'm Amanil.
Aminu. Yes, please.
Were you not raised to revere the elemental dragons?
Yes.
How is this different to revering them to revering a rising deity?
Well, actually, it's not much different, and the dragons are actually bad people. And I don't do that
that's
anymore.
worse. Yeah,
And
our-
he is also not a deity. He is a man who has powers. He's not a god. You all need to also acknowledge that. And also,
Yes.
even if he is, by the way, everyone, gods have died. There were people before us, and they died. So this is not just an all or nothing thing. If you genuinely believe in the cause,
Are you
that's
saying
great.
I'm going to die? What?
You have died. I watched you die.
No, I ascended.
Oh no! Oh
Sinis?
no!
I watched you die.
He returned. He died and returned. That's you hear just murmurs of shock, of awe, and pure
You're in some
what is it?
lion shit. Right
it's
now, man.
validation come from the audience.
Indication. Yeah.
Vindication.
I have
See?
watched you die.
He returned from death.
Yes, and that was Sinis Nadala. I believe you all remember Sinis Nadala.
Who?
Oh, they're so good. Look at these good boys. Look at all these good boys you have.
I'm Adramalik.
Yes, you are now, but you once
He's
were
always
Sinis
been
Nadala.
Adramalik.
No, that's not true.
I've been Adramalik my whole life, just waiting until the moment that I came out.
From being Sinis Nadala.
What are we really before we are what we are?
Well, I am who I am. It's not a matter of who I was, it's a matter of who I am, and I am Adramalik.
Which is the name that followed after you died.
I don't quite
Death
know.
unlocks the keys.
Yes, death unlocks the keys. Death unlocks the keys. Death unlocks the keys. And I lead a chant of
The chant
like,
begins of
like
death
I
unlocks
get a
the
headache
keys.
very
Death
far away,
unlocks
and
the
I
keys.
don't know why.
As they all begin to move forward and encircle you, reaching out to do, touching of your hands.
Cult touches.
Cult
Yeah.
touch.
The cult
Yep.
touches. Eventually, some of them lift you up on their shoulders and they pass you around in the mosh
Very
pit
nice.
style and
Oh yeah, the whole shebang.
reverently bringing you back inside of the cabin.
Cool.
Aram just watches the scene, his brow furrowed in genuine concern for the future, for all of those people, concern of Adramalik and what he is becoming, and Sinis who once was, and he walks off of the boat and starts making his way
Before he
towards-
makes his way off, the young man from before comes rushing out from a side room, wearing a very colorful outfit, some very heavy, thick gloves, carrying a bowl of grapes and chopsticks in the other hand. Wait, where'd he go?
They carried him inside.
For the ceremony! Great! And he takes off after them.
I hope you think back on my words. I really do.
And Aram walks off of the boat, just shaking his head, highly uncomfortable. And that's what happened.
Amazing.
Meanwhile, back at the guard tower, do you have anything in particular you do, or do you just brief them?
I say, our assumptions were correct. It is a rather large force, and they are led by very powerful creatures. I need to speak with the leadership of the city. We need to formulate a plan in which we can dictate the most survivors, because this is not a weatherable storm.
Very well. We will arrange a gathering in 2 days.
I actually imagine that's very quick.
That's
So
pretty fast.
I-
That feels fast.
I thank you very much. I will be around if you are in need of anything.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. You've been a most stalwart ally, and I appreciate it. And I'll hold up my hand to him.
Okay. He shakes your hand, or he does the warrior class thing.
The thing. Yeah. Which is probably the way most people have to shake my hand anyway, to make it somewhat feel more
That way they're not
equitous.
just gripping your thumb.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it's like I'm holding a toddler hand. So this at least has some like I am acknowledging you as like an equal of note.
Okay. Your information passed on. You room there or head back to the boat?
I'll head back toward the boat, just because I obviously don't know what everyone else's plans, but that obviously didn't take as long as the speech. So
no, it did, because you had to get there. You had to wait for them. You gave him all the information. Okay. As the sun begins to set, you each have completed your tasks, I suppose, some more satisfyingly than others. As the sun begins to set on this, one of the last possible days of Nechara,
drink of this.
the Beastman horde approaches, led by their mysterious lunar owl, the new presence of Roxy, the cannibal queen to the north.
We do not
Now
know.
made known. No, you do not know. And somewhere, an odd formation of clouds travels through the air as we end for the night. Thank you so much for taking the time to enjoy our show. Come back next week for the next part of our adventure, or join our Patreon for early access to the next episode, as well as our Patreon exclusive campaign of Rippers. If you like our content, consider supporting the channel alongside our first patron, Bubble Dirt. But of course, don't forget to check out our tutorials and video plays on YouTube at The RPG Blender. If you want to stay up to date on our releases, you can join our Discord. Check the description for a link. Don't have Discord? No worries. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at RPG Blender. Or subscribe on your podcast app of choice. Music is The Punk Rock Show by My Free Mickey. Copyright 2012. Licensed under Creative Commons Attribution License. Thank you again, and remember, there's gaming outside the Forgotten Realms.